Welcome to today's session. Before beginning with the class, let's have a look at the thought for the day. And today's thought is, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. So true. Why? Because my mind is that part of my body which really controls everything. Everything from like what I think, all my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings, my likes, my dislikes, everything is controlled by my mind. So, if I think that I cannot do something, I am weak, I am unable to get or achieve what I want, because I have already made up my mind in advance that I won't be able to do it. So, I will really not be able to do it, even after giving it a try. But if from the beginning I have a thought that whatever happens, I am going to do it, I will be successful, I will achieve my goal, and then you see, when you are trying for this thing, for whatever you want to achieve, because you already had a thought in your mind that you will be able to do it, you will really be able to do it. It's all because in the mind you already had that thought. This is why it is told that the mind is everything. If mentally I feel I'm strong, I'm really strong. Because my mind is sending those waves to me, saying that yes, I am strong. So always, before being strong physically, try to be strong mentally. Right? Because that is what is more important. That doesn't mean that I don't need to be strong and healthy physically. That is important. But first thing is my mind, which I need to control, which I need to make it so strong. Right? Like I can give you an example of a small ant. So tiny it is, isn't it? Looking at it, we might think, what is this tiny ant going to do? But at times you see that small little ant carrying some piece of food which is even bigger than the ant itself. So had it been that the ant would have thought that no, I cannot carry this big particle of food, so it would never have been possible for the ant. But then that small ant, physically small, has a control over her mind, and that's the reason why she is able to carry along with her the particle which is maybe double than her size. So all this is here, nowhere else. So that's the reason why, my dear students, I want you all to be strong. Strong physically, but more strong mentally. So with this thought, let's start with today's class. So with this thought, which I feel is connected to the today's lesson. Today we are going to start with a new lesson from our Flamenco book, Chapter 3, Deep Waters, written by William O. Douglas. And somewhere whenever I teach this lesson, I find the shadow of the thought over it. Why? Because this chapter is an autobiographical account. It is something which the writer had experienced himself, and he is narrating his experience over here, and this tells us how he became mentally strong and he was able to overcome his hindrance. He was he was able to overcome the obstacle. So let's read the chapter and find out how the thought for the day goes true with today's lesson. Deep Water by William Douglas. Let's know about the author first. He was born in 1898. So this chapter is an excerpt taken from William Douglas's Of Men and Mountains. Right? So this is a small part from that book. And here we are going to see how the writer, the author, was scared of water and how he overcame that fear. So let's start with the chapter. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. So he says he was 10 or maybe 11 years of age, the writer says, when he decided to learn to swim. Right? And for that, what did he do? He joined a YMCA club. Now YMCA is an organization which is meant for the young people. Right? And this is here, the writer is talking about the YMCA group in US, in California. So the Yakima River was treacherous, like sort of a cheater. Why? Because maybe on top it ran very smoothly. It pretended that it's a shallow river, but then it was very deep inside. And because of its look, the people got it wrong. They misunderstood it, and there were many cases of drowning in this river. My mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. So whenever the writer would go for swimming, the mother would keep on instructing him and informing him about the depth of the river, about the incidents that had taken place in the river of drowning. So the mother would never let the boy forget this. Why? Because she wanted that the writer should take all the precautionary measures and he does not meet with any accidents. So it's just like even our mothers do that, isn't it? If they know that we are doing something and where we can pose to danger, so they keep on instructing us. They keep on warning us so that we have that thing in our mind and we don't meet with any unnatural incident or any accident. But the YMCA pool was safe. It was only 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other. The drop was gradual. So now he says that the Yakima River was very treacherous, but the pool in the YMCA club, it was safe. Though it says that it was shallow on one side and on the other side it was very deep up till 9 feet. I got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. I hated to walk naked into it and show my skinny legs, but I subdued my pride and did it. So now the writer wants to say that he was very very slim, and he didn't like to show off his legs. Why? Because they're very thin. So he says, wearing his swimming costume, wherein the legs would be totally visible, he didn't like it. But then he says, I did it. Why? Because I wanted to learn swimming. And in doing so, he says, I had to show off my skinny legs. From the beginning, however, I had an aversion to the water when I was in it. So the moment he started to learn to swim, he says, I had a strong feeling of dislike towards water. It can also be maybe because of the repeated instructions of his mother. He was somewhere at heart scared, somewhere in his mind he had that idea that water is dangerous. This started when I was 3 or 4 years old and father took me to the beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf. I hung on to him, yet the waves knocked me down and swept me over. So now this is the incident which the writer shares with us, and we come to know why the writer was scared or he had a strong feeling of dislike towards water. And he says when he was 3 or 4 years old, he had gone to the beach with his father, and when he was there with his father, though he was hanging, he was carefully catching hold of his father, but still the wave managed to take him along with the waves. Right? I stood together in the surf. What is a surf? That is the lather. This word we have already seen, we had come across this word in the last chapter, the enemy. You remember? You should. So fine. Now he says I hung, but still the wave carried me with it. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed, but there was terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the waves. So he says that my father did not show that serious reactions to this incident, but I was really scared of water. Right? And this incident had deeply engraved itself in my mind, and I could never forget it. My introduction to the YMCA swimming pool revived unpleasant memories and stirred childish feelings. So after this incident, he really hated water, but then that thought of learning to swim had brought him to this YMCA club. But he says as soon as I was there near the pool, I was taken back into flashback and I remembered. Revived is remembered, or that incident again came back to life. It came alive in front of my eyes. I remembered it, and that incident was really very unpleasant one. But in little while I gathered confidence. But then he says, I gathered confidence. I tried to be confident. Why? This is again coming from the mind. Okay, what has happened. Now try to focus, try to concentrate on what you want to do. You wanted to learn to swim. I paddled with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them. So now if you have ever seen the new swimmers, the beginners who are learning to swim, they have lot of safety tools. So paddle is one of them, which they wear it. And then with the help of that, they keep on moving in the water. And he says he was trying to ape others, trying to copy the other people, other children who were there in the pool. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in the water when the misadventure happened. So now he says that he had been trying to make himself comfortable in water, and slowly with the passing of few days he had started feeling comfortable in the water. But at that time when he started feeling comfortable, another incident took place which he again considers as misadventure. That was something very bad. I went to the pool when no one else was there. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tile bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. So he is sharing his experience when one day he had gone to YMCA club early and there was nobody, right? So the water in the pool was undisturbed. It was all calm. And because of that calmness of the water, because there was no movement in the water, he could see the floor of the pool. I was timid about going in alone, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. So though he is trying to feel comfortable with water, though he is trying to be confident and learn swimming, but he says, because I was alone, I could not gather courage to go alone in the pool. So what did I do? I kept waiting for other people to come and join, so that I can also join them in the swimming. I had not been there long when in came a big bruiser of a boy, probably 18 years old. So, he says, I had not been sitting there for a long time when there was a boy, a bruiser, a bullying type of a boy who is very strong physically and who likes to trouble other people, who likes to fight, who likes to argue with other people. So that sort of a boy, he came there, and what is the age? Nearly about 18 years of age. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen with legs and arms that showed rippling muscles. He yelled, "Hi, skinny, how do you like to be ducked?" And here what he is doing, he is giving us the introduction of the physique of that boy. That is very strong, well built, and then he is calling the writer, "Hi, skinny," right? And how if you are put into the water? With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep end. I landed in a sitting position, swallowed water, and went at once to the bottom. So, he didn't even complete his sentence. He says, and as he was completing, as he was talking, he lifted me and he threw me into the pond. And which side? It was the deeper end. That is the 9 feet deep. That part of water, that part of the pool, he threw the writer. And now writer was now even in his sitting position only, he could not even change his position, and that way only he started going down in the water. I was frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits. So he says, I was very scared with this incident that has happened. I was very scared, but still I was not that scared that I could not think. I was scared, but still I was in a position to think about the situation. On the way down, I planned. When my feet hit the bottom, I would like a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it, and paddle to the edge of the pool. So, what is he thinking? When he is going deep inside the water, his brain is working. He is thinking very bravely that, okay, as soon as he reaches to the bottom, what is he going to do? With his feet, with the help of his feet, he is going to come back. He is going to jump back and then paddle. Those paddles that he might be wearing. So, with the help of them, he would swim and come to the side of the pool. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90, and before I touched bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. So he says, because he was scared, he didn't know swimming. So when he was going down to listen to 9 feet, he says it's nothing much deep. But when I was actually going down deep into the water, I felt that these 9 feet, they are not less than 90 feet. That means very, very, very deep. And he says, because of this, what had happened, I had swallowed so much of water inside that my lungs were nearly ready to burst. Or maybe he is trying to keep his mouth closed, and because of that, the inner air that is inside, and because that is over pressurizing the lungs, so it may burst. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength and made what I thought was a great splash spring upwards. So he says, but as soon as my feet touched the bottom of the pool, whatever I had thought, I wanted to enact. I wanted to bring it to action. And in doing so, I gathered all my courage, summoned all my courage, and I just tried to lift up with the help of my feet. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. So, you all know cork, wooden cap of any bottle or something like. So, what does that do? That keeps on floating in the water. Even if you try to press it down inside maybe a glass or a bucket, and you think now it has gone down, as soon as you leave it, what will happen? It will spring up. It will again quickly come to the surface. So he thought that maybe this is what is going to happen with him also. Instead, I came up slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing. So nothing of that sort happened. He didn't come up like a cock immediately up. No. But very slowly he was coming up, and he could see nothing but water. That means he could not reach up to the surface of the water. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panicky. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. So he says, I could see nothing but only water around me. And he says that water appeared dirty to me now, maybe because of the disturbance in the water. And he tried to catch hold of something, some rope or something, but only thing he could get into his grip or get into his hand was water and nothing else. I was suffocating. I tried to yell, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of water, but not my mouth. So he is trying hard. He is struggling to save himself. Right? This is what, if we are in a dangerous situation, in order to save our life, we make all efforts possible so that we are able to save our life. And he also says that I managed to reach to the surface of the water, but what happened? Only my mouth, my eyes and my nose could reach to that. My mouth was still under the water. It could not reach to the surface. I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. So, flail on the surface of the water, flailed uncontrollably. He was moving without any control over himself. And he only swallowed and choked. So only a lot of water was going inside his mouth, and he felt as if he is unable to breathe. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights, paralyzed and rigid. So he tried to bring up his body, but the body was not in a situation to react. Right? This is maybe due to the fear, or he had not learned to swim properly, but mostly because of the fear. A great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. So he says he was trying with all his force, with all his strength, he was trying to come up. But he says there was some force, unseen force, which was pulling me down, which was not letting me come up, letting me move up on the surface. So that's all for today's class. In our next class, we'll continue with the lesson. So till then, keep studying, keep experiencing.